So the new NFL FPI, which is a ratings metric put together by ESPN, is out for the 2025 season. And the Eagles are the number one team in FPI, plus 5.5, meaning they're 5 points better than the average NFL team. Chiefs are second, Ravens third, Lions fourth. None of this completely surprising. You look at middle of the pack teams, Texans plus 0.9, Steelers plus 0.01, Cowboys right there on the negative side with the Dolphins. All that makes a lot of sense. When you look around at the NFC South, kind of look at where the Saints' competition comes in this metric, and you wouldn't imagine that a lot of teams in the NFC South are thought of too highly. The Buccaneers 14th in the NFL at plus 0.9. And then you see the Atlanta Falcons 26th, minus 2.7. The Panthers, they're terrible. They are 28th in this metric, minus 4 points below the middle of the pack. So where are the Saints? They're last. 32nd in the NFL, minus 5.2, below the Titans, below the Browns, below the Jets, below the Panthers, below the Giants. Dead last. This is truly a whole new world for New Orleans Saints fans of the last 20 years. And there's two ways to kind of look at it. One, it sucks that some folks with reasonable reputations think that your team is the worst team in the league. Like, that's a hard pill to swallow. Whether you are the most hardcore hoodat out there or just a casual, I'll turn it on Sunday after church, like, them telling you your team is the worst in the league is hard to swallow. And then there's another side of it that's like, I can compare this, like when LSU plays Clemson on Labor Day weekend, like, I won't be able to feel my legs in the third quarter of that game. I'll be so nervous because the stakes feel so high. And ultimately, that's what you want as a sports fan, right? You want to be sitting on the edge of your seat with high stakes for your team. But every once in a while, not a lot, every once in a while, you just sit back and go, okay, we're not there right now. Don't have to get my blood pressure up to an unreasonable level. I don't have to scream 50 profanities. I don't have to take a break after the game's over because something happened awful. I don't have to look at Twitter and see that a bunch of fans broke their televisions after a loss. You can just drop everything down a couple notches. And it's not fun to do. It doesn't happen very often in this state with LSU football. It never happened with the Saints over the course of 20 years with Breeze and right after that. And now we are back there. There will be very few that will suggest that, no, we don't have to go that far back. We're not that bad. But the reality is you probably are. But at the same time, like, okay, let's watch the build. Let's watch what they do without having to just pour blood, sweat, and tears every Sunday into trying to get that win. Just watch for the good, understand the bad is coming, and try to get some of these young guys to grow up. Try to see if your quarterback can take some steps forward. And, man, there is nothing better than the come up and turning that corner. You saw it early on with the Saints. When Breeze and Bush and that crew, that part is as fun as anything in sports. My Cubs did it in 2015. They just went nuts in the second half, got into the playoffs, and just beat the brakes off the hated Cardinals. It was the most fun I have had watching a sporting event in pro sports. And you're probably a couple years from that. Hopefully 2, maybe 3. But you have to go through some garbage to get to that point. And the Saints haven't waded through this in a while. Even the quote-unquote bad Saints seasons, like 2 years ago, they were kind of like in the mix at the end. They say that the lows going through them make the highs more enjoyable. Like, how much did Alabama football fans really like those big October and November wins over the last 15 years? You knew they were coming. Your season was only 2 games long, and it had happened in January. I'm not saying that you don't want to be a part of that, but, like, there is something to the fact that just being incredibly at the top of the sport every single year takes a little bit of drama out of it. How much do you really enjoy it? I'll tell you, Cubs fans really enjoyed climbing the mountain. I'll tell you, Saints fans in 2009 really enjoyed climbing the mountain. And it feels like that because you go through the awful times. And unfortunately, like, you're in that right now. Had to fire a coach, had to move on from the quarterback, have to get rid of this salary cap disaster, and ESPN says you're the worst team in the sport. They may be right, they may be wrong. They're not that far wrong. The Saints aren't the fourth best team in the sport. So maybe there's something to maybe reducing expectations a little bit, watching for what could be, and hoping for that next time then your team rides that wave on the come up and turns the corner. Because that is one of the best feelings in sports. And the NFL is really, really good at allowing for that to happen. It feels like Washington just finally did it. It feels like we know the Lions just finally did it a couple of years ago. Like the Chiefs were not great for decades, and then they finally hit it with Mahomes. And you can go through a list of all these teams, all these franchises, the Bengals 5 years ago. Like, there's a time where it clicks, and you just kind of wait for that, and man, is it awesome. And I'm hopeful for that time again with the Saints, with the realization that through this a little bit, and maybe that just lowers the blood pressure on Sundays this coming fall. It's not fun to see your team listed last. I get that. But maybe it just gives you a little dose of perspective. We'll see. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.